John Hodge, you were MD of Countrywide Lettings when Alison Platt was parachuted in 0405. I'd like to talk to you about those 4 years of Alison being in control, the retail strategy, and what was good and bad about it. Talk to me.
Wow. It's a very open question, Christopher. Thank you.
I'm an open question sort of guy.
So a lot of it was good idea. Mixing up the management teams was less of a good idea. The agency guys were very, very good at their job, and the lettings guys were very, very good at their jobs. But we weren't experts at each other's jobs, and that was really the down.
Because from the outside point of view, it looked like that an awful lot of area managers and divisional directors got rid of. Good stock. There was an acquisitions program, and there was this reduction of brands, and there was a focus on acquisitions.
Well, every time someone new comes into the business that hadn't got experience, normally on the finance side, but every time someone came in at Countrywide that was new to it, had similar views about why do you have all the brands, why do you need so many people, an area manager, why have you got one for lettings, one for sales. So everybody has that sort of view because it's economically, you think, why do you do that?
Because there was lots of towns where you got 3 or 4 brands,
indeed,
and each one had 2 directors, one for sales and one for lettings. It makes sense.
It makes sense, but it does financially, but it doesn't really, because you lose a lot of income, because you need people to be focused on driving those revenues and being experts at what they do at those things. So that was, everybody had the same view. Clearly, when a chief exec comes in and has that view, sensible view in one way, it is they sort of carry.
Was it quite refreshing to get somebody in who wasn't an estate agent?
Well, Grenville wasn't an estate agent.
No, he's from the Halifax Bank,
wasn't he? He was from the Halifax. So he had come in, but
people forget that, don't they?
People forget that. But he was a businessman, and Alison was a businesswoman. But he listened. He watched the team, and stayed with the team that he thought was the right team. Alison, before she had really joined, had thought about bringing a different team with her, and creating a retail structure and a retail director, and had that mindset, and that brought new people that didn't understand the business, and that caused lots of losses of experience and changing dynamics of the firm. So yes, it caused lots of problems.
Because they got rid of quite a few layers of management. They got rid of the big boys, which was your Bob Scarfs of this world and his entourage, and then you had all the the divisional. What was the manager's? Was it an area manager or divisional director? What did you call each other? Each brand had 2 directors, didn't they?
They when we were yes, they were divisional, and then the regional directors. They were regional directors.
Okay. And
regional directors, managing directors, divisional directors.
Yeah, all directors.
Crikey!
No wonder you got rid. No wonder.
Well, people come in and say that, but it motivates people to be that. If you want them to have a loyalty and maybe not financial skin in the game, but skin in the game, then if they're called director and they take that responsibility for a business.
But there's 3 levels of directors. No wonder an outsider came in and said that we need to get rid of some of these.
No wonder. But it made it work.
It did work. Well, yes. It did do, because people were afraid of Countrywide, weren't they?
And they all had slightly different roles. So the regional directors would be about driving performance and coaching staff and visiting branches. We all visit branches all the time, but it's about driving performance. And the next level up would be looking at a lot more administration with that role.
Yes.
So although they had the director titles, they were doing very different jobs and guiding those people and running the board. And
still spitting sales and lettings, but
yes.
But Alison decided to basically amalgamate that. Is that correct?
Yeah, and for reasons that seemed fairly obvious, but they weren't. I mean, if you like, the lettings was turning over in excess of 150 million a year, and to think that you could lose the management team and just have another team come in and run that.
Because if you don't mind me saying, I've been doing some homework on LinkedIn and also going back on Property Industry Eye, and what it seemed to do is that when you had a salesperson and a lettings person, she seemed to keep the salesperson and get rid of the lettings person. And let's be frank, you'd never let a estate agent near a lettings department, would you?
You wouldn't.
God no.
God no. Absolutely. I fought most of my life to stop that happening.
Oh, but they're not detail orientated. They can't be doing with the minutiae things.
And they don't always get what it takes to run a lettings business, which is much more detailed and organised. It looks easy, it isn't so easy. And that was, for whatever reason, and I don't know the reason, that happened, which was disappointing, very disappointing. But you got to say that that there was a whole PLC board that backed all of this all the time. And Alison, she would have taken her views to the board, who had also run it, been in as a board when Grenville was there and when we'd practiced in the old days, in the old ways.
Did you guys who were just below the board level have a chance to talk to the board and express your opinion?
I didn't, no.
Okay.
But I'm sure some did.
Okay. But then at the same time, though, she gave you 40 million quid a year to go out and buy stuff.
Indeed. Well, that was a historic thing, because Oaktree gave us £40 million a year from probably 2009-10. I can't remember, but we I had that as a target, which for smaller businesses, which excluded any major acquisition, they wanted to grow the lettings. So the lettings growth plan was built from organic growth, new start growth, and acquisition. So we did 3 things to grow it.
But by 2016, and again I know we're getting into PLC board territory here, the debt had got up to £297 million. And if you actually look at it, that's actually been the chain around their neck, which is why they're in the position at the moment.
It had been. But whilst it was operating in a very profitable manner, it wasn't such a liability. It was only when the profits fall out and the business deteriorates and the revenues deteriorate, that it becomes a liability.
But was that the issue not of lettings, but of the sales department just not not bringing the money in, because the market went a bit tougher in 16, the market 17.
Got tougher, but it's also about Countrywide was always very good in a tough market. We used to love a tough market because it gave everybody else a hard time, and we knew we could win. And it was that edge that had been lost through the experience. That
do you think it was the losing of the decent directors which held Countrywide back, fighting back?
It's a people business, and losing that amount of experience was a problem.
So the issue is not necessarily the debt, it was the losing of the people that enabled Countrywide to be a fighter.
To service the debt, of course. That was how I'd take it.
If there was one thing that you would change from that strategy, what would that strategy be?
Keep some of the old management structure, maybe not all, but most of them, in place.
Do you think that was
Nick Dunning, Bob Scarf, the senior team, and lots of the MDs were very, very good. Do
you think that's the one thing? That's the one thing you would change?
Yes, that would be the one thing I'd change.
Do you think if that hadn't changed, Countrywide wouldn't be in the position that they were being taken over by LSL?
I absolutely agree.
Well, it's not through yet.
It's not through yet, but I would agree. It was the change of management team and the loss of focus on the things that earned money.
What do you think other firms, other corporates can learn from this?
Well, you can see Connell's posted their results last week. Very good. Now they've maintained the discipline that Countrywide used to maintain, which was keep focused on the job. Do your day job, do it properly.
Because they don't make a big song and dance of it. They just, Connell Secrets, they just plough on, don't
74 million EBITDA. I mean, it was very good. Well done. Fantastic result.
And then look at LSL. I mean, their board is fantastic. Just ploughing out.
Ploughing on. But just stick to the day job. And don't try and change it. I mean, it works. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
I mean, what about reducing the number of brands? Surely you've got too many of those.
No way. I love all the brands. The brands are the thing that makes it work, because people relate to brands. People have bought a house through Man & Co 20 years ago and think, I'll come back to Man & Co. Each brand. So would you get rid of the Hamptons brand? No way. No. Would you get rid of John D. Wood? No way. No. Would you get rid of Bairstow's? No way. So when you go through it, you think, why would you lose the brands? Each one of them has an absolute value. It's what you bought. When I was at Nationwide, they got rid of all the brands. The company I worked for, the business, the partnership, within 18 months had been closed down because they got rid of the brand and branded it Nationwide. It wasn't known to anybody. They got rid of the management team.
But that's what Halifax did, and look what happened there eventually.
So you would not change their brand? No way. Or Virgin? No, the brand is so important on a high street. We had 3, in some cases, not very many, we had 4 brands on a high street, but each took a different share of the market.
because a lot of people say, well, if we close all 4 together, we'll get all that share. It doesn't work that way, does it?
No, it doesn't.
Okay. And one final thing, what about the online offering through the branches?
Yes, that was a good one. Thank you very much.
You didn't think I was going to ask that?
Didn't think you were going to ask that. No. Well, it didn't work, and reducing the fees just hurt the fee. You know, the guys in the branch trying to get proper fees.
Do you think they should have started a fighter brand?
A fighter brand?
You know, a different brand that they could have offered.
I think they should have, if they were. Yes. If you're going to have an online offering, it should have been called something completely different.
Yellow bricks.
Yellow bricks.
I'm loving that. I tell you what,
Open bricks.
We could still.
I would have called it Open Bricks.
There you
That
go.
would be a wonderful brand to
That'd
have.
be a wonderful brand.
It would.
Probably we could talk about that in another video another time.
We could indeed.
Thank you for your time today.
You're welcome, Christopher.